Hi, everyone. Hi, this is Jen Mazer. I'm the Queen of Manifestation, and I'm here with my good friend Kari Samuels, who's an intuitive counselor and the happiness coach, and my favorite expert numerologist. So I'm so excited to have you all here with us live on Facebook today. We're going to have a really great time. Yeah, we have so much to talk about for 2019. There's so many great things happening, and everyone just celebrated New Year's, but also we just had our first new moon of the year and first eclipse. And I wanted to talk to you, Kari, to learn about some of these themes that are happening this year, not just in astrology, but in numerology, and what that means for all of us in terms of the things that we want to manifest in our lives. So I'd love for you to just maybe share a little bit first about you. I know you very well, but not all of my followers know you. So maybe a little about who you are, and then let's dive in and talk about the year so we can help everybody understand these themes, so we can make the most out of 2019.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on here. It's so nice to be with my fellow curly-haired New Yorker and friend. And okay, so this is an extraordinary year for a lot of reasons. So it's, every year everyone's like, oh, it's a new year and like it's a fresh start for new beginnings. But the thing is, years are like in context to like each year. Although this is a year of new beginnings. Yet it couldn't have happened without our previous years of soul searching. So when I talk about the energy of this year and the numerology of this year and the astrology, I'm going to put this in context of the last few years and what's coming up, if that makes sense. Because next year is probably the biggest year we're going to have on the planet in our lifetimes in many ways. In many ways. Well, 2032, there's some things coming up like way far ahead, but like really, there's a convergence between two planets that are active now, Saturn and Pluto, that's going to happen next year. And that hasn't happened in this sign of Capricorn in 300 years. So like since like the beginning of the Protestant Reformation. So like this is like that kind of era shifting paradigm that we're in. So that's the kind of energy we have right now.
Yeah.
So 2019, this year, is that year where we're initiating these new ways of being that's really going to solidify and come together next year in a much bigger way.
Yeah.
Talk about that and the eclipses and what that means in a few minutes. I see you looking at your people because you have questions there. We'll get to that in a minute, but I want to explain, like, everybody knows last year was really hard for the planet. And just, that makes it hard for people who are empathic, right? So, so that soul searching that you did last year and the 7-8 years leading up to it is all culminating now this year for you to totally rebirth yourself. So it's kind of incredible energy. So I'm going to talk to you and whatever comments, and then I'll get back to that rebirthing energy.
Yeah. So let's talk about, just first for people to understand how we get the numerology of the year,
Sure.
how it works, and then maybe what last year was for 2018, because I'd love to put it in context for everyone.
Because last year, I feel like needs a context.
Yeah.
It was challenging. Every year, so everything is numbers in life. Like numbers identify things, right? So when you're born, you get a name, and each letter in your name actually has a numeric significance. You have a birth date, you have a location on the map, which is delineated by numbers. Your address is a number. So like numbers really help identify where we are on the planet. Okay. And right, if you think about it, like even longitude and latitude, like, or your address, or like who you are in your identity, it's all with numbers. And so every year the numbers on the calendar change, right? And so that indicates to us, and I want to make clear, numbers and planets don't make us do things, but they indicate to us what energies are transpiring, right?
Yeah, and the more informed we are, the more we can understand how to work with things. So it's easier for us versus working against whatever is happening on the planet.
Well, I always say it's like, and I just want to make sure I got plenty of batteries on my computer. I always say, see, I looked at the numbers of what the battery life is. It's an indicator of where my computer is on the planet in terms of power. But you know, we were talking about going with that they indicate energy, right? So there's this, and how important it is to know about this. So like we look at the weather every day, or at least we know what season we're going to be in. Like if we're planning a certain kind of trip that requires, certain types of outdoor activities. If you want to go skiing, you do that when it's snowing. If you want to have like outdoor picnics and, crisp hiking, maybe you do that in the autumn or the spring or the summer, depending on what you want, you're going to plan for that.
Yeah.
As people, for some reason, we don't do this energetically, but there are celestial weather forecasts that we can find with numbers and planets. They're basically telling us, like, this is the celestial weather outside. This time's going to be a storm. Like, don't launch a product when everything's in retrograde, and they're indicators of what the energy is going to be like. So at the beginning of every year and every month, I forecast based on looking at patterns, just like a weather person, a meteorologist looks at patterns. Astrologers and numerologists, we look at patterns, because even the moon, patterns, waxing and waning, like these are indicators of what our celestial weather is going to be. And if we're not paying attention to that, it's like not knowing the weather and like just going out and hoping for the best.
Totally. Yes, exactly. And that's
why would you do that?
Yeah, that's the whole thing with manifesting is first, understanding what's happening and getting clear within yourself so you can place your order into the universe. I always like to make it like a restaurant, like your order into the kitchen, the universe.
Yeah.
And the universe being the yes, universe is going to deliver it. But until you actually place your order, the kitchen doesn't know what to make for you. And so I love how you are talking about understanding what's going on so that you can place that clear order as well. So it makes perfect sense what you talk and teach about, and what I talk and teach about in terms of manifesting. And that's why I love having these conversations with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to be informed. We want to be aware so we can make it easier for us to understand and then work with those things.
Absolutely. Like the universe is like, there's an order to the universe, right? So when we're placing our order to the universe, you want to know like what the universe is delivering as well. It's an unlimited universe, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't like pay attention to what the universe is telling you. This is a co-creation with the universe, and we're in communication with the universe. So if you're trying to have a conversation with the universe and you're not listening to what the universe is telling you, well, how's that go in your relationships,
Totally. Yes. So in terms of numerology, we get the numerology for the year by adding up the numbers of the year, correct?
That's right. Back to your original inquiry. So for 2019, so in numerology, it's called reducing numbers, because if you take multiple digits, you reduce it to a single digit. So you do that by adding it. So you add 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9, and that equals 12. And then 1 plus 2, because we keep reducing every time you get multiple digits, unless it's a master number, and that we'll talk about that in a minute, but you keep reducing it to a single digit. So 2019 reduces to 3.
Yeah. And
so we are in a 3 universe. It's called a universal year, or the world number, or the universal year number, because this is what we're all experiencing universally.
Right. Exactly.
Every single person.
the people on the planet collectively, we all are thinking 2019. So even if there are other systems of counting years, most people on the planet are thinking this is 2019. And so it's in our collective conscious, correct?
Yes, it's in our collective conscious, and it is an indicator of, it's the universe telling us what to expect. Mm-hmm. It's the universe's celestial forecast. Like, you know, now you're in 3 season, like winter, spring, summer, fall, 3, right?
Yeah.
You're in the season of 3. So this is how you plan for the season of 3.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things that go along with that.
Hear about what the season of 3 means, but I don't know if you want to tease people, and just we'll get back to that and first talk about what last year meant.
Yes, I would, because again, like, this is a I can't, for some reason English is escaping me right now. I'm thinking in numbers. It's like a different part of my brain. Continuity. So it's a continuum. So last year we were in what's called a master number. They're double-digit numbers are called master numbers, and you don't reduce them. 11, 22, 33, 44. Mm-hmm. So last year was intense. That's the word that I just kept using. Every month's forecast, I was like, this month's intense. This is intense for a different reason now. Here's why it's intense today. Like, there's just like a bazillion reasons about like why last year was intense. And I knew it was intense ahead of time. Like, basically, when I looked at the forecast of the year last year, ahead of time, I was like, holy wow, this is going to be something. Because now last year we started the year with a full moon, super moon in Cancer, which in Cancer is ruled by the moon. There's a super moon, and it was a time of elevated emotions, right? Full moons, like, bring your emotions to light. They elevate things, and super moons exponentially so. And it ended with a full moon in Cancer, right? This year we begin with a new moon solar eclipse. So we'll talk about that difference, like polarity difference, right? It's like literally night and day. Last year was night because you have that full moon, right? And this year is like daylight, sunshine. So right off the bat, I was like, okay, that's an intense way to start the year, because it's like a lot of emotion. And it was a master number year, because 2018 added up to 11, and you don't reduce that. And master numbers, even though 11 is a magical number, it's a year of like elevated consciousness and illumination and inspiration and intuition. And there was all that. And yet it requires you to master your life. It's a steeper climb to raising your consciousness. And because it is the number of light, 11 in numerology adds up to the number. So the word light in numerology adds up to the number 11. The word psychic in numerology adds up to the number 11. Mm-hmm. So 11 is very illuminating, and it's very intuitive. But it's also a gateway. So it's like a pillar of light. And so when you're being illuminated with that much light, it also illuminates the shadow.
Yes.
A plethora of shadow energy last year. And also you were seeing things that you were hiding from yourself. I know, like, I had a really good friend that, you know, there were things that I was always like, oh my goodness. But there were all these qualities that I really loved about her, but I ignored these other things. And finally, like, it was like a big reveal and a big, like, betrayal, and I let her go. But, you know, it was that kind of thing. It's like,
yeah,
you don't want to process things. It's too much. It's like, you push it back in your consciousness because there's other things. And then last year was like, you can't push this back in your consciousness anymore. And of course, we saw so much of this in the world.
Yeah, politics, things being revealed.
Yeah.
Like, totally.
So it was a big reveal, and it is to elevate our consciousness and to get us to, like, you know, really step into our game. But the thing is, last year was full of what's called retrogrades, when a planet from Earth's perspective appears to be moving backwards. And that's also a very intuitive, emotional, introspective time. So much of the energy, so talk about how this relates to manifesting. So much of the energy last year was about going within and purging and really reconnecting to your soul with this new influx of consciousness and light so that you elevate yourself. But that was a process of constantly, like every time we finished a retrograde, we get another set of retrogrades and another set, and we had 5 and 6 at once retrogrades. So it was like a nonstop soul searching.
Yes.
As a collective. And this is what I'm saying, like, universal energies can affect us. They affect us and they illuminate for us, like what we're all going through as a collective. It's like, this is what you're all going to be going through as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
So,
so last year was like shining the light on everything and seeing everything, illuminating.
Yeah. And they make you go within, like it was a very within energy. So in terms of manifesting, it was like you recognize what it is you want to be doing more of, or how you want to share yourself with the world in a new light. Like that's all in a new light. Like you recognize, okay, this is what I want to do now. This is how I want to share my light. This is how I want to share my heart and soul. But it's kind of like a high tide, like you try to go swimming and like, the retrogrades and all that energy would just keep pushing you back. So you really couldn't gain that momentum during so much high tide. By the way, I'm wondering if I'm trying to get the light better here. I look kind of blue.
No, you look awesome, Kari.
Okay, this is a new light and I'm like, I don't want to look blue. I'm feeling purple. So just as long as you can see me, okay. So if we're talking about illumination, I'm like, my light. Speaking of light. So anyway, so that was what was happening last year. And in a sense, that was what was happening for many years. But because we were in that master number year, it was really like stepping it up.
Yeah.
So all that retrograde, all that introspection, all that going within was really hard. And it made you feel oftentimes like you just couldn't move ahead with your plans.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is why I say we have to put everything in perspective from last year and also where we're headed next year.
Yeah. So if you were having a hard time last year, it was also part of what was happening on the planet. So this is a new beginning and a new year in numerology. And if you had a good year, then awesome, right? And you got to reflect and, now you can continue to do great things with different momentum. So I'm excited.
That's right, because it was a very spiritually enlightening time, and it's so important. So now we're in a year of expression, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But you see how the universe is so intelligent, because why would you want to express what's in your heart if you weren't clear about it? Because there's a lot of forward energy right now to really go out and go big and like really shine super brightly. But why would you want to do that if you didn't know who you were? Really?
Yeah.
So this is the intelligence of the universe.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, same thing with eclipses, and eclipse season is always the time to reassess and go within and reflect. And so it's interesting that we were in the year of illumination. We had so many retrogrades to go within. So now we can move forward and express ourselves fully with that clarity that we received last year.
Well, actually, eclipses aren't always things.
It's retrograde, sorry.
Yeah, retrogrades. Because eclipses in a way are the opposite, so this is how we started this year. We started this year with a new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
The clue that this is telling us from the universe is immense, because we also end the year with a new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn. So last year was bookend, like these like full moons in Cancer, emotion and that super moon energy. This year, we begin with the reset button. Because what the eclipses do, it's kind of like, it's funny, you and I had trouble getting on to online before, and I like shut down, I restarted my computer. It's like every time like you're having that like, backlog of stuff, like I restarted my computer, I actually got another computer, but this is total reset, right?
I bought a computer in the last 2 minutes before I went on.
What's that?
You said I actually got another computer to go.
Oh yeah, I went and bought it. Like it's like the delivery these days is so good. Those drones, but it's this reset energy. So eclipses, they're a wake-up call, especially the new moon eclipse, because new moons are a time of, that's when you set your intention for what you want to grow. Because as the moon's light grows, you set your wishes and your intentions and what you want to grow with that. And so to start out with that very initiating energy, first of all, it's the new moon, wonderful, but an eclipse is like, it's a total reset of your consciousness. So after all of that, like, oh my gosh, what's happening last year, and like all that that like growth and growth and growth, we start the year with the reset button. We're like, this is it. It's like, let's reboot so that you can like process all of that stuff and like start out. So then the day after the eclipse, Uranus, which is the planet of freedom and liberation and revolutionary change, goes direct. So now we have 2 months. So right after the eclipse, we have like full speed ahead energy from the universe for 2 months. Like, what story is the universe telling us now, right? Like, what are they trying to say? Like, after all that soul searching, so these new moon eclipses, they're a big time of like initiating fateful changes, you know? And Capricorn is the highest in the wheel of the zodiac. This is our status. This is our stature. This is our career. This is like how we represent ourselves in the height, you know? So it's incredible energy, and it's a message from the universe to say, now is your time. You've had all that soul searching. Go big now.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there, because you know who you want to be and how you want to shine. And the 3 universal energy is all about sharing from your heart and expressing your truth that's been in your heart, that needs a creative expression in only the way that you can do it in your unique light.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes, yes. Now's the time.
Now's the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about 2019. I feel, you can feel this energy, and I started off the year with like 5 events that I did 5 days in a row. So I've definitely been expressing myself in this go, go, go energy, and it feels really great. And even if that's not you, like just thinking about how can I express myself fully this year, and what is it that I want, to manifest, and how do I want to express myself, and what do I want to create? So I love all of this, Kari. So good.
Yeah, I mean, well, the universe has gifted us with these patterns, so we can recognize what our call to action is now.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So tell us more about this 3 energy for 2019.
So 3, it's funny. So 3 comes after 2. So 11 reduces to 2, which is a number of intuition and soul searching. And in the tarot card, it's the high priestess, and there's the moon, right? So 3 in the tarot is the Empress, which in the tarot, that represents like, if you read tarot cards and the Empress comes up, it often represents like a pregnancy. Like you're giving birth to something that you're nurturing, that's so close to you, that's so special to you, that's so such a loving act, then that you are giving birth to it. And 3 also represents that miracle of creation, because you have 2 people who can create a 3rd person. That's like a miracle. That is a miracle, right? Like, how do you invent a person? There's 2 of us, and now there's 3 of us. Like, we created this miracle. So 3, by the way, I don't have children, but like, by choice, but like, I create other things that are like children to me, like creative projects. So that could be like things that are close to you, like my creations are my babies, you know what I mean? Like, and fur babies and things like that too. I didn't make any fur babies, but like I'm talking about like courses and programs and stuff. They're my creations, and they're so close to my heart. Like, this is like my heartfelt expression to the world. This is what's so true to me, and so the beauty that's inside of me that I want to share with the world. Now, 3 is associated with the mouth and smiling.
I love that.
And using your words and what's in your heart to uplift and inspire others through your unique heartfelt expression. Now, it's interesting that the planet that went direct right after the eclipse was Uranus, which is all about uniqueness.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So this is the year that you take what's in your heart that's scary to share. Like there's an element of fear to it. You know, there's an element of like, will I be rejected? Will, what will they think of me? Like, there's an element of like, this is the real, like, unedited, hashtag no filter type of version of me that I'm sharing with the world. So you're going to see a lot of like, no filter type of stuff. You're going to see a lot of like raw, real, authentic people, because the Instagram lifestyle is ridiculous anyway, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. So we'll probably see a lot of Instagram stars and like things like that, like, those like, this is what it's really like type of things, which is nice, because when we're manifesting, it's important to be realistic and also dream big. But you have to manifest from your heart, not from like an ideal that you see outside of yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it needs to resonate, and that's, being in alignment, and manifesting always starts from the feeling place.
From the feeling. So this is about manifesting with feeling, not manifesting because an idea of what someone told you is your idea of manifesting.
Right, or what you thought you had to do because that was what everybody else did, or whatever you're taught. But that resonates with you now in your heart. And if you can feel it, then you can attract more things to you to make you feel that same way. And that's really manifesting, that, having that vibration and attracting things that are matched to that vibration. Even if you don't have that thing that you want, you can feel the way you want to feel when you do have that thing that attracts you to feel that way. So I love that you said that, Kari.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting year to, let me tell you something else about the 3 energy. So every letter correlates with a number. Okay. And so C is the 3rd letter of our alphabet. And when I was planning the year, all these C words, letters that began with C, came into my head about like creation, creativity, collaboration, connection, communication, like coming together. So there's a community, all of these words that have to do with, begin with the letter C. You know how you were saying retrogrades are RE words? Well, you can think of like words that begin with C for this year, collaboration and connection. And when I was doing my New Year forecast video that I do every year on YouTube, like, I always do 3 steps or 4 steps. And so my guides, of course, said 3 steps this year, or 3 things to as guidelines. Yeah. And the first word I thought of was connection, because this is about really connecting through your heart and really connecting with other people. But my guides said collaboration. It's a different element of connection, but it's connecting in a way that you're creating together. It's not just like we're hanging out together. And I pick a card every year, with tarot card. So I pick an animal card and then like another oracle deck. The card I pulled, I used my friend's deck. I pulled the collaboration card. It's the 3 of Cups.
And I used your friend's deck and got the collaboration card.
Of course. And the word on the deck said collaboration. I was like, this is insane. Because I have different decks. Like the tarot I use doesn't have the words on it. The word was literally collaboration and productivity. So, because this is a year where, if you're trying to manifest, we're always manifesting, right? But as you're working on projects, as you're working on whatever it is you want to manifest from your heart, the energy of 3 is collaboration.
Yes.
And it's also that connection between body, mind, and spirit. So you have to be connected, all of you. It's all about being very holistic. Like it can't just be like manifesting with your mind without your spirit involved or your heart involved. And you can't do this yourself. So like, when you say to me, Kari, let's do something together. I'm like, I'm all about collaboration right now, like there's exponential power with 2 people. That's like 1 + 1 can equal 3, not 2. Do you see the magic of that?
I think oftentimes, like, what stops people from even going for their dreams in the first place is thinking that they don't have enough resources or enough help or support to do
Yeah.
it. And it's just being able to ask for help, and, ask and you shall receive, in terms of the law of attraction. And even if you don't know someone in your life right now to collaborate with on a project, even thinking about collaborating with the universe, that it's not you alone doing anything, but
That's
you're
right.
always co-creating with the universe.
That's
And
right.
you're
That's right.
receiving these visions of the things we want to manifest. And by saying yes to it, then the universe is also helping, and we can co-create. So there's so many levels of this collaboration. I love this, Kari.
Yeah, I love it too. And I love what you said about the receiving vision, because that is the 11 energy. That's what we did last year. So it was frustrating. So 11 energy is that download, those divine downloads. It was frustrating that you received these divine downloads and now they're like in your heart and you're like, why didn't I get a chance to manifest it? Now's your time.
Yes. Cool. I love this.
It's exciting. It's a very exciting time.
It is. So the C words and the 3 energy. So collaboration, community, connectivity, expression. So yeah, I'd love to hear other themes that you see when you kind of did your year broadcast for 2019. Like, what are some things that we can look forward to for this year?
Well, it's funny when you say we can look forward to. I feel like with every year, it's what you make of it, right? So what I'd rather talk about is how you can make the most of the opportunities that are available to you right now. Like what the universe is telling you about the celestial weather, that you can make the most of it. So if I say, like, this is going to be like a super beautiful, if I'm like a weather person and I say, hey, it's a beautiful sunny day outside, that's not telling people you're going to have a beautiful day of hiking if you decide to stay home and do laundry, right? So it's like, I'm telling you what the energy is.
Yes.
And how you, as a co-creator, can make the most of this energy. I'll share what the universe is telling us about the opportunities. Does that make more sense?
Yes, and that's why I love you. I mean, it's really, I always talk about us being, in terms of quantum physics, we live in a participatory universe. We're all participants.
Yeah.
So we're all responsible, for the things that we're seeing. It's not like we're just, oh, that happened to me. But yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Thank you for that. And that's why I love you too. Because I know that there's a lot of, there's so many things about manifesting that are wrong the way they're taught. Like, I think they're just dead wrong, that aren't emotion based and that aren't like alignment based, and that, like, so we, as a co-creator of the universe, it's about being in alignment with the universal energy. So, there are cosmic storms coming up, like eclipse seasons, and there are some retrogrades, and there are some times this year, with any year, there's a lot of shadow, and the world is going to be probably more crazy, if you can believe it. Yeah. But I feel like personally, we are called to bring more joy to the world. Because that's what the 3 energy is bringing joy to the world. And as an empath, and I know you're an empath, and I know you're socially active, it's very overwhelming when you feel powerless to change everything. So this is the year where we say, you know what? I can't change the whole entire world, but I'm going to do my part to uplift and inspire people. That's your mission. That's everybody's mission right now. Do your part to just, if you, I remember, like, I grew up in New York too. And like, you pass by someone doing music on the street, it just changes your energy. New York, like, you're just like, oh, like it's winter or whatever. You're like walking around and you just like see someone playing a saxophone in the subway. You're like, this is amazing. Like, this is like so beautiful, So that is your job right now, is to like be your corner of joy in the universe, first of all.
Yeah, because if you think about manifesting an energy, if we are vibrating in a positive, higher frequency because we're happy and shining our light, that actually affects everything else. So It really does, from an energetic perspective, no matter what it is that you want to create this year. It's not that you need to go out there and protest or whatever, your beliefs are politically, but like, let's, be your own light and do what fills you up and be happy. And whatever that is going to make a difference, because the people around you are going to start to be happier. They're going to feel that effects of the things that you're doing. So
I do think it is, because this is the year of using your voice, I do think it is the year to use your voice for change, political and social change. You will see in the world, everybody's going to be more vocal. Like all sides of everything are going to be more vocal. And it's a year of heightened emotions in a way, not in the way that we had last year in that like supermoon kind of way, but like stuff that's been in your heart that you've been repressing in a way. Like that's a lot of what the 3 brings out. It's like stuff that's why you had that like deepening energy, because you had to really go deeper to a next layer of your heart to say, okay, so I've been sharing this with the world, but here's another part of me that I've been really wanting to share. And now, so the universe is saying, this is the time to do it. And it's going to be scary. And if you're afraid of doing it, it probably means you're meant to do it.
Yes, exactly. I love reframing fear, because I think that stops so many people,
So many people.
Yeah, so it's just pivoting like, oh, this is a good thing when I feel this way. It means I'm about to experience something new, because it's scary because we don't know what it's going to feel like. So let's just pivot that fear.
Or even anything. Like I remember, so when I was an actress, and every time before I got on stage, like, there's a lot of really like amazing actors that still get scared. I don't know if your husband, even before he performs, or he's just like, whatever, that's what I'm doing. But like right before you get on stage, there is a sense of fear. And then you get on stage and you're like, oh, I was born to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a healthy dose of fear before you're about to do something that's meaningful, that's going to impact other people. You should be a little afraid, because it means that it's important to you and you're about to give all of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just reframing it. It's not a bad thing. I'm not someone who teaches like to, get rid of fear. It's more about to move into the fear.
I love that.
That's action moves fear. It's by taking a new action.
That's right. And it becomes more and more and more and more comfortable as you do it, and so if there's something that you feel would be really good for you, but it's not what you identify yourself as, it's probably a good next step. It's like, it's time to change your identity. That's part of why we started off with an eclipse this year, new moon solar eclipse. That's consciousness. That's how you shine in the world, is the solar eclipse, right? So it's about resetting that, reframing like how you share your light with the world.
Yes.
It's total reset on that.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. And let's talk about the bookends of the year that you mentioned, so that we're starting the year and ending it in a similar way.
Well, that's because, again, like I said, next year is going to be huge in terms of like a total paradigm shift. In terms of the world, like the whole world is going to be restructuring how we do things. That's part of the collapse that's happening now. And it is scary, again, as you're seeing things crumble, yet it is in the stars, as they say. And next year is a 4-year, which is also about structure and building structures. So, and there's a lot of Capricorn, which is also about building structures. And to tell you how precise astrology and numerology is, Pluto in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn. So we had a similar energy back when they built the Berlin Wall, because it's all about boundaries and walls. And then it came around again when the wall was broken down, and now we're in it and we're having a fight about a wall. That's how literal this stuff is.
Like
astrology.
Patterns then.
These patterns in the universe. So there's a lot now about building new structures. So the 3 energy is very expressive, but we have a lot of Capricorn, which is very much about boundaries and structures and time. And so 3 energy is very empathic by nature. So the empaths are, learning how to have boundaries, energetic boundaries, not walls, but like, healthy boundaries.
Yeah. And this is so good for all of us, especially I have a lot of women who follow me, like for us to learn how to set healthy boundaries for ourselves, because it's also reframing boundaries. When you set a boundary, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it can be, depending on what kind of boundaries you're looking to build.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So
if you're setting a boundary for yourself, like for your own time or for your self-care, that you're setting that healthy boundary so that you're giving yourself more time, or you're setting a boundary in your relationship. It's a healthy boundary so that you're saying, actually, I deserve to be treated this way. It's this.
That's right. That's exactly right. And let us be a metaphor for the kinds of boundaries they want to build in the world. So, for instance, it's super important to have healthy boundaries, So but the 3 energy always wants us to be connected. So it's like building boundaries where you're filtering out what's not good for you. Very important, but also not isolating yourself.
Right, because
So
if you think about like community and the connection, we're not building walls, we're just setting healthy boundaries, and we're connecting with other people, and different people. And yeah, exactly.
And this is what we're rebuilding in the world right now. Healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
Healthy boundaries where we stay connected. So hopefully that's a new paradigm, not isolating yourself with like, this is me and this is you and never the twain shall meet. It's like, that's a lonely life. Right. Doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You want to stay connected, but you need like rules and structure.
Right. But connecting in person this year is really important. So we can develop relationships online, but getting together in community. Yeah.
That is so right, Jen. That is so right. Which is why, like, you do all those like community events where you're like with the peeps, you feel each other and you uplift each other together. It's this incredible energy that really just so uplifting, right?
Yes, totally. I love this. It's so true. Yeah, so this is exciting. 2019
such an exciting year.
Yeah, and building community and relationships and recognizing those opportunities and saying yes to them, and realizing that we can ask for help and co-create. And if things appear to be breaking down, that it's okay, because we're going to rebuild them next year, or we can.
Well, we're rebuilding as we go too. We're still rebuilding now. Yeah. Next year is the year for building. Next year is a huge structure year. So it's important to be a little messy with your creativity now, because that's what the 3 energy is. It's a little bit messy because creative energy isn't perfect, right? Creative energy is like sloppy. So it's important to, now you want to be professional, right? You don't want to just go whatever, go online and but you want to try new things and okay, let me try a little bit of this and a little bit of that, maybe, and see where my heart is. Maybe I don't know what to do, so let me try a little bit of each until I feel into it. So it's all about feeling into what's right, but not thinking, okay, this is how it's meant to be, and this is how I'm going to do it. And it's more like, this would be fun for me. Let me try it. Let me try something a little different then. It's more feeling into things kind of energy. It's more playful than structured. But just with any creativity, your husband's a musician, right? He goes home and practices so that he can go out there and be free, right? You gotta put in the discipline to be creative,
Yeah, totally.
So that's more of the structure of the year.
Yeah, but feeling into things. Versus in your head. Yeah, overanalyzing. Still planning, still having the daily practices and the structure to master those things in your lives. Whether you're mastering meditation and that's a new practice for you, or mastering this craft or your business. But feeling into what feels right. Yeah, versus
that's right.
It. Yeah.
And those are boundaries.
Yeah.
Those are boundaries too, those daily practices. They're saying I'm putting boundaries around my time in my life here because this is what I need to be creative.
Yeah. Oh, awesome, Kari.
So much fun this year.
Yeah. God, I could talk to you forever. We're already almost at the top of the hour.
I can't believe it. Do you want me to answer any questions, or do we need to wrap it up at the hour? I'm fine either way.
I know I've been seeing a lot of comments coming through, but if you guys have questions for us, you can type them in because we're seeing them and we can actually answer questions. I also want to share for my people, Kari does this awesome premium psychic forecast every year, and she's about to do the 2019, which is like a 2.5 hour broadcast that she does. So I'm going to put the link below if you guys want to sign up for that because it happens in a few days. So I'll post the link so you can read more from Kari.
Yeah.
But that's also something if you are like, ooh, this is really interesting and I want to hear more and more specific, she has that. So I'll post that below. But in the meantime, if you want to post questions for us, you can ask us questions. This is so much fun. Feedback on myself.
Yeah, there's feedback. I'm like, oh, am I cutting her off? I can't like hear what you're. It's like, but I'm glad we at least got connection. I'm glad we at least got together. We had a little bit of technical difficulty on my end, but
yeah.
We did it. That's all that matters.
It does, and it seems like you have all enjoyed the conversation. I'm excited. Katie, yes, you're feeling very positive about 2019 and that your word is fun. I love that. That's so awesome. Yes.
Well, yes. I'll be sharing more, as you said, on that major, like, because we'll be going month by month in the forecast about how, like, what each month entails. So you can really plan out your year so that you're knowing, like, when to launch things, when to, like, if you're going to move or if you're going to start any project or like have a big event or a small event. It's important to know the energy mapped out throughout the year. And I call it a premium psychic forecast too, because I receive insight from my spirit guides about it that really that's unique to me. And that's part of what this year is about. Is like, well, how are my spirit guides uniquely expressing this year in a way that can help you, you know? So it's me and my spirit guide team that are going to be doing the forecast.
I love it. Yes.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I love you, Kari. I love connecting with you. You're one of my favorite people. And I've had Kari on a lot of my interview series that many of you guys have heard her speak before, but it's nice to do this video, Facebook Live. It's a new thing for me in 2019 to do these live Facebook interviews. So it's really fun. And if any of you guys are watching this and new to me, you can go to queenofmanifestation.com. You can learn more about what I teach with manifesting. I have a book, Manifesting Made Easy. That's really a how-to. Takes you step by step in really manifesting your dreams and co-creating with the universe, making it way easier than a lot of people make it out to be. And I have a board game, Sparked, which I love, and you can get it at playsparked, SPARKED.com, which is so in line with the things you were talking about, Kari, with getting together in person and connecting, and that's why we created that board game. So it's, yeah, so cool. And Kari, I put the link below for your premium psychic forecast. So I'm psyched.
Yeah, and I'll put the link below for your stuff too. So we're all good. Lots of links.
Yes. Oh, Dee Dee had a question. Has the eclipse ended this year? Is that tonight?
No, the eclipse was January 5th or 6th, depending on where you were in the world. There's 5 eclipses this year. There's 3 solar eclipses this year. Their next one's in July. But eclipses are always 2 weeks apart. So there's a solar eclipse and there's a lunar eclipse, because full moons and new moons are 2 weeks apart. So we do have a full moon lunar eclipse coming up. And the moons this year, we don't have time to talk about it. It's one of the things we're going to be talking about more in the forecast. But the moons this year tell us a lot of information. So I'll be going in depth about the moons, because that's like another big, there's so much to talk about. It's another huge subject, but the moons this year are also very powerful in their own way and have very numeric influences that are telling us a story about this year of renewal and rebirth and joy. So I'm excited to share more with you throughout the year too, and in the forecast. So
Yes, I can't wait to hear because I love manifesting with the moon cycles and starting to
Oh
plan
my gosh.
intentions on the new moon and releasing on the full moon. So I can't wait to hear the specifics
That's
of these moons this year. I'm psyched about that. Yeah, so we can really tune in and take advantage of the energies of what's happening
yeah,
all along the year. So
so exciting.
thank you, Kari. Thank you all for joining us. This was so much fun. I love you all, and I can't wait to see you all virtually again and give you a big hug. Oh, and I will share, I still have space for 2 more people in my Queendom Mastermind. So if you're interested in working with me privately this year, you can also go to queendommastermind.com, where I coach women, exclusively women in that program privately for 6 months. So if you're interested in that, just you can check out that as well. So thank you so much, love. And Kari, I can't wait to listen to your premium psychic forecast. I'm psyched. And thank you for joining us and being with us on a Saturday. This was
Yay! So nice to be here. Yay. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your wisdom and love and all you bring to the world as well.
Thank you, Kari. Yes, love you. Love you guys.
Lots of love, everybody. Thank you.
Night or a day wherever you are in the world.